recording locally.
There we
So
go.
Phoenix, Arizona has just recorded the hottest month ever recorded by a U.S. city since they've been recording the temperatures.
Damn. What's the average?
Been over 110.
I talked to a deputy chief the other day out at Pinal, and he was like, yeah, the last few weeks hasn't dropped below 110.
It very quickly saps your energy and will to live, but we're here, we're persevering. Luckily, our air conditioning works. Thank God for having a new house. This is the best decision we ever made to buy a new house. And yeah, we're hanging in there. So if you can stay inside, stay inside. It's hot out there, folks. But we're not here to talk about the heat. We're here to talk about Mastermind of Millions is coming back, which is very exciting.
Ooh.
And if you're watching the live, hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. We are getting all our bells and whistles in order. And we're doing a little bit different this time. So we did Mastermind of Millions. Chris came. It was an awesome event back in March in Phoenix, which was
fun.
not that hot. It was super fun to have people in the room. And then Jay and I decided, you know what? Instead of doing one again so quickly to turn it around again in 6 months, why don't we try a virtual one? So I'll be heading on up to the Great Wide North. I'll be going to Calgary to visit Jay.
I'm sorry.
We'll be going out of his studio, which is a beautiful studio there where we filmed a lot of the pre-event content. And you can get access to all that content, including trainings and some recordings of the last event, selected little pieces, by going on over to our school group. That's SKOOL. I'll go ahead and drop it in the chat, and Chris can put it underneath as well, this video. And yeah, we're gonna be dropping the tickets in there. So we're not gonna just be like, hey, we can have a bajillion members. This is not like every other live thing. We're not trying to be Tony Robbins, put 800,000 people in the room, although that would be awesome. We're really trying to make sure everybody gets that individual one-on-one attention that they need. So that's the most important thing to us. So as a function of that, we keep it relatively small, and we're going to make it really sexy for everybody to do that. It's going to be marbles.link/M2M group. That's marbles.link/M2M group. And that's where you'll want to go to grab your tickets. But for now, here's the link, the naked link in all its glory. So Chris, what's new in your world?
Working on getting my podcast up and a little bit more direct, building the podcast up.
Love it.
Yeah. So Fight the Burnout, a police podcast. Using a bit of AI to help me cut that up so I can post those on social media and that for each of the interviews. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on at the moment. Talking a lot towards fitness. Had a good conversation with my coach actually yesterday, which was interesting. It was really good. We broke down, always said I hated running, didn't like running, but pretty much ran my entire policing career of 7.5 years and have kind of ran off and on since. And she's like, okay, cool. Break down a 10K run for me, like what you go through. And I was like, okay, because I was like, I can get to a zone place in my run. And we broke it down to 5 steps, really. There's the there's the going into it. There's the putting your shoes on. And it's like, fuck, why am I doing this again? I really don't want to be doing this, but I'm going for it. Let's go. Come on, let's get it going. So you can hype yourself up. And then the first couple kilometers or, the first kind of half mile to mile is like, oh my God, I want to die. Like, why am I doing this again? Like, this is hard, but okay, cool. We're out here. Let's keep it going. And then you find your purpose and then you find your rhythm. And it's like your body warms up and it's like, okay, let's get going.
Oh, he's not stopping. I guess I got to get with the program.
And then you start going and you start to get into the groove. And then you hit about the 5-6K and it comes back again. And it's like, hey, I'm going to test you a little bit. And it's like, oh, okay, no, you're actually in the flow. Okay, let's just keep it there. And it was so interesting because she broke that down. I was like, that's business, that's life, that's relationships. That's literally, it's a 5-step process.
Yep.
And your mind goes through this consistently. And then you get to the flow state and then it tests you every so often and jumps back to the step 3 where it's like, is your purpose really there? Are you really focused on it? Are you really actually staying with this? And yeah, it's quite interesting. You can use that. I've been thinking about it. I struggled to sleep last night because I had this in my head going through. I was like, oh my God, okay, cool. Like, am I using this in all areas? And yeah, it was a bit of an epiphany on oh my God, yeah, this is what I've been coaching people on for the last 6 years. But she helped me really break it down to the 6 steps, which I know you talk about as well and build a mastermind of millions, but it was just like relating it to my fitness, which is what I relate everything to. It was just like, oh, okay. Yeah. I can teach that so much easier.
That's a really powerful thing because you have certain areas of your life where you're strong and you have habits built and you know what you're doing. And, if we could just kind of think about the big 3, which is health, wealth, and relationships. If you're really good at relationships, well, what's working in relationships that you can use as a framework that's similar or helpful for what you're doing in the wealth side or in the health side. It's never going to be 100% one-to-one. There'll always be hiccups. There'll always be new things to learn, but you can borrow competence from where you feel competent and move it over to where you don't feel competent or confident, right? I think that's really the most important thing. By the way, I did create that link. It's at marbles.link/M2M group. That's the number 2, M2M group. That's marbles.link/M2M group. That's if you want to go to Mastermind to Millions, you can go on over to our school group. We'll be releasing tickets there soon. It's going to be an intimate virtual event. We'll be giving everybody individual attention from our team, and you'll be able to learn how to dream up your masterminds, how to fill it, and how to ultimately scale it once you fill it. So it's figuring out your offer. It's doing market research. It's doing the sales calls. It's doing the dinner parties, whatever it is, the ways to fill it. Then we help you craft a world-class offer and really take care of your clients, and ultimately how to scale it up once you really nail it. And Chris is living proof of that. You know, there's a lot of people that want to do a mastermind, but he went and did it over the last 6 years, 5 years, 4 years. I don't know. It's been a while.
6 years.
6 years. Yeah. You brought on over 650 clients, I'd say at this point.
Yeah, about 650, 625, I think it is sitting at right now.
Which is amazing.
But I'll add on to that. You know, I came to the live one in Phoenix, kind of wasn't quite sure if I was going to make it at first, but then we made it happen. And I was like, oh, I know most of this stuff. I'll come support Brad. It wasn't so much to learn. It was more of just come and support Brad and, you know, the team and be there. And I learned so much new stuff. So much stuff, and actually learned that I wasn't doing some of the stuff, and
that you already
all
knew.
I can say was it was all I can say is it was so much fun. The networking side of stuff was incredible. The way that Brad's looking at doing it this time is
there's opportunities to connect. You'll talk to the team. You'll have individual attention. It'll be great.
Even when we went to Mastermind to Millions, there is networking built into it. It's like networking is a priority because, you know, and we all, you know, anybody who's been in business for a while knows that networking is the key to literally everything.
Cool. And that was the reason that event really transformed me, is not because I just learned how masterminds worked. I already kind of got that. I certainly got some new frameworks and tools, but I met somebody who I could start a mastermind with right away. And we were able to launch immediately. Michael and I went to China and Hong Kong. We had 52 people come with us. On the back of that, I launched $1 million business inside of 6 months, and I ended up selling my share in it. So like, you create opportunities because of the people in the room, not just what you know, right? Because those are the people that help you fill in the gaps and whatever strengths that you're missing, that help you to get to the next level. So as you're learning and as you're growing, it's so important not just to learn the skills, but also to learn and get the relationships that will propel you. And that's what we're looking to create with this event. So if you're interested in that, go on over to marbles.link/M2M group, and you can head on over to our little school group where we can introduce ourselves and all get to know each other. And that's where the tickets will be. And it's a reasonable investment. It's not going to break the bank. You don't have to get on a plane. You don't have to get a hotel. So it's, I believe, going to be very, very powerful and impactful for the money. So definitely do that. And then Chris, you've been helping us on the sales side, which is really great too. So, you know, this program, I never desired to make this a huge program, right? Masterminds are near and dear to my heart. They're really important for me to serve and give people the tools that have helped to make me successful, because the reason I've been able to launch successful businesses and do deals and connect with some of my heroes and travel and all these different things has been because of masterminds. And it's not just joining them, although I do join them, it's also building them. And that's the reason I run this Build a Mastermind program and the Mastermind to Millions event, is to teach people this skill set and this mindset of like, how can we create groups of people, get paid to learn from them, get paid to bring in experts that we wanted to connect with anyway, get paid to network and collaborate, and not just be extracting value, but also be creating value for everybody in the room. That's really what it comes down to. And that's why we do what we do. And I never meant to make this a gigantic thing. So as time has gone on and other opportunities have come into my life, and we have other ways to grow and expand our service and our mission, you know, this is the kind of thing where, like, if you stay where you're at in anybody's growth trajectory, you will get stagnant and you'll get bored and you'll have issues. Like, if you've done something 1,000 times, whether you love it or not, it's eventually going to lose its luster. Not only that, if you don't step up to the next level of service, you're screwing 3 people. You're screwing your present self, you're screwing your future self, and you're screwing the person who could step in and get that benefit from being in that role at that time. So as time goes on, and Chris has shown himself to be very, very competent at what we teach and very committed to the process and has a lot of success on his own from what we've learned, I've had him step up and into the position of sales, and ultimately we're going to do bigger deals together and all that. And it just happened to work out with timing. I think we talked about it previously and it just didn't work out. So he's got his own business. He's helping us with our business, and he's learning the pieces of the puzzle that he doesn't have so that he can continue to grow as an entrepreneur while putting money in his pocket, while helping people. And it doesn't hurt that he's also a top testimonial of the program, of like, he's the guy who, you know, on all my sales calls, I would tell about his story. I've told his story probably 1,000 times at this point, or whatever it is. And the reality is he can help people in ways that I can't, because there's one thing to hear it from the person who's selling you and like on working with you. It's another thing entirely to hear it from somebody who's been through the process, was skeptical, did it anyway, and had insane results, and now is urging you to take that leap as well. And we get it, right? We hear it all the time. It's a lot of money. Compared to what? Right? Compared to what? Compared to millions of dollars you could potentially make on the back end? Like, yeah, it's not that big of an investment. I mean, we keep it very reasonable. We give you lifetime access, all this great stuff. I don't hand you off to any of your coaches. I keep it small. I keep it intimate, and I'm hustling in the background to make sure everybody wins as best as they can win. You know, oh, is there a guarantee? Yeah, I guarantee if you take action, you show up consistently, and you keep making adjustments, you will get results. You will get clients. You'll make more money. Your business will thrive. I also guarantee if you don't do those things, you will not get those results. What else? Time. Time is a function of priorities. I get it. Masterminds and this business are designed to create more time. If you're struggling with time right now, we have to first get real with ourselves that we're not utilizing it effectively, because nobody is, almost, right? There's very few people, unless you're making $1 billion a year. I don't think you're utilizing your time very effectively, and there's always room for improvement. And additionally, maybe there's other things that need to let go of, or put on pause, or put on the never pile, because what to do is less important than what not to do. And when we can get really clear on what not to do, we create the space for what to do, which is get leverage on your time, right? We always hear the, you know, hey, I got to think about it thing. Well, the reality is decisions don't require time. They require information. They require information. And unfortunately, since this is not a commodity, it's not just some off-the-shelf product that you can go and get Amazon reviews on. This is a program that we've handcrafted meticulously over 5 years. And it's really my time that I'm selling you, and my expertise and the decades of experience and my mentorship and guidance and all the programs and everything. We're the only source of information on this particular thing that's worth a damn, right? It's not like there's all these peer-reviewed studies and all this crap out there. It's just not there, right? So the only source of information is us. Therefore, it's not a function of time, it's a function of information. And the only source of information is us. Have a conversation with us. Ask all the questions that you want to ask or need to ask in order to make a decision clearly, whether it's in or out, yes or no. We don't care if you're in or out, really. We want to serve you. We want to support you, but ultimately it's got to be the right fit. So that's another great reason to get on a call with us. If this is something you've been thinking about, this is something you've been exploring, considering, wondering, prioritizing, maybe not prioritizing, someday, maybe, do one of two things. Get on a call with us. Go to buildamastermind.com/schedule-now. That's buildamastermind.com/schedule-now. Jump on a call with us. We'll chat with you. And if we come to an agreement that it's not a great fit, awesome. That's great. But I don't want to leave it in the regret pile. And if it is a great fit and we do have amazing success, imagine what you would have missed out on if you didn't just take that leap. So I encourage you, I implore you to do that. And if you're just not sure, or just want to try us out, or you don't want to make that big of a commitment yet, awesome. Head on over to Mastermind to Millions. Go to marbles.link/M2M group. That's M, the number 2M group, Mastermind Millions group. And you can check us out over there. We'll be releasing a limited number of tickets, as we said, and we'll be willing and able to answer any other additional questions you have. This is not your typical scale it to the moon, fly by night internet operation. This is a real business. We've really helped a lot of people. I could go on and on about stories, but the reality is you need somebody in your corner. You know, in the world today that we live in, everybody's like, oh, I'll get free information from YouTube. Great. Good luck to you. In the world of YouTube and Google and Facebook and all this free information we're awash in, why is not everybody a billionaire with perfect families and perfect health, shredded, six-pack, looks great in a bikini? Why is that? Why is not everybody that? Why is everybody not that? Well, because people pay attention to what they pay for and what pays them. I'm not here to change human nature. The reality is you need accountability, you need support, you need to be invested in your own transformation. And I can't invest in you unless you're willing to invest in yourself. And I need to get paid to do what I do. Otherwise, I have to prioritize my time in a different way. So yeah, we can put out all the free content we want, but the people who transform are the people who invest. That's just the reality. And when they show up consistently and they have something on the line and there are stakes and it is important, and I've had very wealthy people invest and not show up. That's up to them, right? They don't prioritize it. So it takes both. They get results and they get really great results. Like Sabo, I just called him today. I just invited a few of my really top clients. By the way, Chris, it's on the other side of the world, but you're welcome to come as well, to a mastermind group that I get a few invites to every year. And it's a really high level mastermind. I've been in it for 3 years. I pay $30,000 a year to be in this mastermind. I'm like a top performer in this mastermind. There's $50 million businesses in this mastermind. There's $100 million businesses in this mastermind. It's all 7 figures and above. And I'm starting to reach out to some of my more successful clients and invite them specifically to come to that group as my guests because I believe in them. And that's not for every one of my clients. I'm just going to be real with you because not every one of my clients is a good fit for that. But for the ones who are, I want to continue to invest in their success. And just based on the power of my relationships, I can get them in that mastermind for free. That's a $10,000 value and I can do that. So I reached out to 4 of them this morning and I said, listen, I think you should come to this. And they may or may not take me up on it. But the reality is that I look at every single client as a person who I want to build a relationship with. Some are dabblers, some are mastering, right? And if you're the person who's going to master, I'm going to continue to pour into you for as long as I possibly can. And Chris is a great example of that. Where Chris is now versus where he was, there's a big delta. And it seems insurmountable from where you might be now to where he is now. It may seem insurmountable to be where I am based on where you are now. So don't compare yourselves to us. Just understand that your best is still inside you. And I don't want you to regret having put out into the world everything you possibly could before you inevitably shuffle off this mortal coil. We all have an expiration date. I want to make sure you wring out all the juices before then. So let's get to it. All right. Chris, thoughts?
I have one thought. If you're on the fence of this, you want to implement a mastermind. I remember back, if I rewind myself all the way back to when I met Brad underneath in that ice cold event center with Tony Robbins when he was underneath the wool blanket with my wife. But anyways, that's a story that if you haven't heard is a fun one. But back then I was like, I know this mastermind thing. I know I want to kind of bring one into my fitness realm, fitness coaching side of stuff. And I want to go about online, but I didn't know what to do. Now I jumped full force in and joined Build a Mastermind. But if you're not at the place to do that yet, come to Mastermind to Millions. Like literally go over, as Brad said the link a million times, marbles.link/M2M group, and come join Mastermind to Millions because you'll learn the foundational. And then if you want to go from there, then come join us and build a mastermind. Come have a conversation with me. I'll tell you all about my process and the screw ups that I did and the ups and the downs and how it all worked. So that, you can get to where I did. I did 6 figures in the first 12 months.
That doesn't suck.
That doesn't
By the way,
suck.
There's no one waiting around to hand you that kind of money for a job. Unless you're like a very high level earner, unless you have a very dialed in CV, unless you have a lot of experience, like you're not going to make that. Nobody's going to give you that without a lot of buildup. That's not a day one kind of job. This was a day one kind of job for Chris. He built it himself on his own back. And there was nobody to take it away from him because he created it.
Within 30 days, I did 6K.
Yeah. More than paid for his investment at that time.
More than paid for my investment back then, and it's one of those things that like the skill, I think it's more important actually to focus on the skills that I've learned because of it.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. You can learn this, how to build a mastermind, how to sell a mastermind, how to fill a mastermind, how to scale a mastermind. You can apply those to any business. It's just details, right? Like how does it look for this business? How does it look for that business? All the rest of that is just noise. And then it's about, okay, I figured this piece out. Now, like people come to me for one of two reasons. They either have like a model that is overwhelming, where they have too much one-on-one or it's just too not leveraged and they want to get more leverage on their time, or they're trying to do this for the first time. This is their first foray into business. Either way, masterminds are a great fit, but you got to be real with yourself also. The lessons you're going to learn here about networking, about working with people, about sales, about marketing, about crafting offers are applicable to any business at any level. And then you get to decide, do you have a level 10 skill set and a level 2 opportunity or a level 5 opportunity? You really need that to be a 10 across the board, right? You're not going to continue to scale your capacity for earning and for impact if you don't continue to up level your opportunity. Like Warren Buffett said a long time ago, it's really hard to get to China in a rowboat. You can do it, but there's better vehicles to get there. So if you find yourself in a rowboat trying to get to China when there's a private jet out there somewhere that can get you there a lot more efficiently, well, then maybe you should consider the private jet. Find the way that is the most efficient given the resourcefulness you have now. Mind you, I didn't say the resources. I said the resourcefulness that you have now. What can you tap into? It was never your money anyway. It just happened to, for a minute in time, exist in your bank account. And it was made up in the beginning anyway. So whatever, right? These are all constructs that we come up with to keep ourselves tidy in a little box. My money, their money, the money. I don't have enough money. Says who? Says what? Money's made up. Who gives a shit?
Well, look at I won't say her name because of privacy stuff, but look at you'll know who I'm talking about, who literally has to make some money in the first 30 days to keep paying for the program. And she's like, I'm in. Yeah. I'm doing this. Otherwise it starts going on her credit card.
And by the way,
going into debt.
She has 11 calls booked. I just found out today.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So she has 11 market research calls. Her offer's nailing it. People are responding. She's excited. And she just worked the program. And by the way, she shows up with a baby in her arms every week. Like she's got other shit going on.
Shows up with her granddaughter in her arms every single week. Yeah. It's
like I gotta do this, and this is a priority. She made it happen. She could have bought into the story of, I got to look after this baby. Great.
Yeah.
I got to take care of my daughter and her daughter. Great. You can buy in any store you want. Nobody wants you to be rich. Nobody wants you to be successful more than you. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to want it more than you are. So when are you going to stop accepting your own excuses for why it hasn't happened yet? This is what got me in the beginning. There's somebody out there less talented, less articulate, has worked less hard than I have, at least outside looking in. My ego would get butthurt because I would see them out there nailing it and I couldn't figure it out. And I just realized I had to get the hell out of my own way and take action. That was it.
We could beat this horse all day long.
Yeah, the reason we made this video, really, I think, is because we have a commitment to make these videos and make sure we're in touch with people, and whether they show up or not or watch or not, that's really up to them. But for the right person who really needs this message, for the types of people we've been talking to, we've had a lot of sales calls over the last month, and a lot of people, frankly, that are coming up with some sort of excuse, right? They're just like, I really want to do this, but great. Because we ask them like, hey, if you really don't want to do this, cool. Just say no.
The amount of times that you get to it and you're like, look, I want you to do this because I can see the possibility, and I wouldn't be offering this to you if I didn't think that you would succeed, if I didn't know that you would succeed.
I get it. It's a scary decision. I don't care what your reason is. There's fear. There's some sort of fear that's keeping you from taking action. Cool. And that could be fear with any logical reason that you want to attach to it. But let's just call it what it is. It's fear. And the only cure for fear is courage. It's not feeling the fear. It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Yeah. And trusting that it's going to work out, just like many have before you. And by the way, this is true of every growth situation that everybody experiences at every level. Like they say, new level, new devil. It just gets bigger, right? You stop freaking out over this decision. You start freaking out over that decision, and then that decision, and then that decision. It's the same feeling. You just get better and better at recognizing, oh, this is just my fear coming up. What haven't I considered? Okay, let me consider that. Great. Am I still afraid? Awesome. Let's do it anyway. It feels like the right fit, right? That's it. That's all.
I feel like it's not the right fit. Cool. That's okay as well. There's been multiple times where I've been on sales calls where I'm getting sold to, and I'm like, nah, this isn't right for me.
Yeah, that's great. But you have to explore.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out, right? Because here's the thing. I've invested a lot in myself over the years. I've probably invested over $1 million in myself over the years. I never regret the investment because if I can get one thing out of each investment that is an important shift and actually take action on and actually get a result, it pays for the whole thing many times over. And as you're starting out, you're like, oh, I'm in this little small circle here. And then you get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. You get to a place eventually where every good decision you make could be an extra 6 or 7 figures. That's worth doing. Right? Yeah, I'm going to invest 2 or 10 or 50, whatever. Okay. It's going to matter, because I'm going to get something that's going to be worth 6 figures or more to my business. So anyway, don't want to beat this dead horse to death. Looks like we have said everything there is to say. Again, check out Mastermind of Millions. That's melrose.link/M2M school. You can come on along with the journey with us. It's October 5th through 8th. We're going to be dropping tickets here soon. There's going to be a limited number because we want to keep it intimate, even though it is a virtual event. So you don't have to travel or anything like that. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. And by the way, we plan to keep doing these events. So even if you can't make those dates or there's other stuff going on, try to prioritize it, try to get there. And if you really can't make it or something crazy comes up, I'll happily move you to the next one. Like you have a ticket to the next one. That's not a problem for me, right? I want to make sure you just feel comfortable with saying, yes, I want to do this. Even if it doesn't work out this time, I'm going to make it happen. But please do show up if you possibly can. I think you always know when you're kind of making up an excuse and when you really can make it happen, just make it happen. Anyway,
I'll tell you this. I've done virtual events. You know, I'm on the other side of the world. I'm in New Zealand. So anytime
done a few virtual events.
Every virtual events are they're amazing. But it makes it about $3,000 more for me to go to any live event in the US. Plus I've been signed up with virtual events that are in the US, and a lot of times they're at a time where it's in the middle of the night or it's stupidly early, because people like to start early in the morning in the US because, you know, they go through most of the day. And so I'm up at like 1 a.m. going to these virtual events. If I can get up at 1 a.m. or, you know, 2 a.m, sometimes not even go to bed, and then do like 6 or 7 hours at these virtual events, I'm pretty sure you can find the time. You can take some leave. You can call in sick. You can, whatever you gotta do.
Hog tie your kids, whatever you gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, find a babysitter. There you go. You don't have to spend the, you know, $1,000 to go fly there and book accommodation and all that. You know, you'll find a way when you have a want.
Yeah.
And where there's a will, there's a way. The old saying goes. You know, my wife and I talk about it all the time. I went for our level of, you know, SWAT training. And if anybody isn't familiar with doing that kind of fitness stuff, it makes most fitness tests and those Tough Mudders and the Spartans and all that literally look like a walk in the park. I look at them and I laugh. I spent a year training every single day while doing shift work as a police officer. I didn't see my wife for almost a year, bar maybe a half hour a day for dinner. You sacrifice because you want something and you have a passion for it. You'll find a way if you want it bad enough. You just got to ask yourself, do you want to have some flexibility and freedom, or do you want to stay in the grind? That's really all you got to ask.
That's it. All right, gang. I think we said it all.
Cool.
See you on there and looking forward to it. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Stay blessed. I'll talk to you soon.